There is a version of yourself that must die tonight. The one who waits, the one who doubts, the one who starts, then stops, the one who dreams but never demands. That version of you has been given too much time, too much comfort, and too much power. And if you do not destroy him now, he will destroy everything you came here to become. You know him well. He makes promises, then breaks them. He speaks of greatness, but lives in hesitation. He fears criticism. He blames the world. He explains failure. He walks in the costume of potential, but has never once stepped into command. And he has lived inside you long enough. He has robbed you of years. He has wasted opportunities. He has silenced your will, delayed your fortune, and invited fear into your house. And tonight he dies, not by chance, but by decision. For no man can become something new while carrying the corpse of who he used to be. This message is not for the weak version of you. It is for the new man, the man who is rising, the man who has decided to lead his mind, command his thought, and obey the laws of success without apology. That man lives by decision. That man is born through repetition. That man begins here. What you are about to hear is not entertainment. It is war. A war between your past and your future. A war between delay and discipline. And as you listen, the weak self will fight to survive. He will whisper that you can wait. He will tell you that you've heard it all before, but that voice must be crushed. If you will listen, truly listen, with your full attention, without distraction, without excuses, and with definite purpose, then you will begin to feel a shift, not outside, but within. And when a man changes inwardly, the world is forced to obey. This is law. This is power. This is where it begins. You must not pause this. You must not skim. This is a command to your deeper self, a ritual of death and rebirth. Every word spoken is a chisel against the old identity. Every sentence is a brick in the fortress of the new man. This is your final night as the former self, if you choose to listen with belief. So now decide. Listen with fire. Listen with hunger. Listen as if your future depends on it, because it does. The weak man cannot be negotiated with. He must be destroyed. And if you listen to this message in full, without retreat, he will not survive the night. Let the execution begin. A man who does not choose his identity will have it chosen for him, and the world does not choose greatness. The world chooses weakness. It molds you into indecision. It shapes you into fear. It praises comfort and curses ambition. And unless you rise with intention, it will write your story in the language of mediocrity. You were not born weak, but weakness was fed to you, word by word, doubt by doubt, delay by delay. And if you do not stand now and confront the inner imposter, he will speak for you. He will choose your tone, your walk, your posture, your fate. You will become his puppet, and he will call that survival. But I say to you, you cannot grow and remain the same. The old version of yourself must be destroyed, not gently, not gradually, destroyed. For every new self is born only after the burial of the old, and growth is not birth, it is war. One version of you must die so the true one can live. There is no room in one mind for two masters. The indecisive man wants to grow while staying the same. He wants to rise without change. He wants to be praised without pain. But the man who becomes something greater must say, that former version of me no longer lives here. He has been evicted. Decision is the first act of power. Before faith, before persistence, before success, you must decide. And that decision must be complete, not half-hearted, not filled with exit plans, not delayed. The weak self survives through delay. The powerful self is born through decision. Every man I have studied, those who built fortunes, led nations, defied odds, they each had one moment where they buried the lesser man. It was not loud. It was not seen by the world, but it was final. From that moment on, they lived by a new command. They did not return to weakness even when tempted. Abraham Lincoln is such a man. He was not born bold. He wrestled with doubt, with depression, with rejection, but the day he chose purpose above comfort, the weak version of him was buried. He no longer made decisions from fear. He made them from duty, and that duty gave him the spine to endure a nation's storms. You must do the same. You must bury the man who hesitates. You must kill the man who explains. You must destroy the man who waits for approval. If you do not destroy him, he will destroy your potential. And no matter how much you desire success, your identity will pull you backward until it is remade. This is your command. Choose. Kill the version of you that hesitates, or be enslaved by him forever. There is no middle ground. There is no room for both the builder and the beggar. There is no tomorrow for the man who won't decide today. Either the weak man dies tonight, or your vision will die with him. Write it, say it, seal it in your mind. The man who drifts has no say in the future. The man who decides owns it. Speak now this affirmation with force. I am no longer available to be the weak man I once was. Not maybe, not one day, not when I feel ready. Now tonight, forever. Let it be known in your bones. The former self does not get to speak anymore. He is not to be consulted. He is not to be missed. He is not to be remembered. He is dead, and the man who replaces him is rising, word by word, repetition by repetition, belief by belief. And hear me clearly, the world does not change for the man who waits. It does not pause for your comfort. It does not lower the mountain. It demands you become more, and it will only respond to the man who declares, the former me has been removed, the builder has arrived. Do not allow sentiment to protect weakness. The old version of you was necessary to get here, but he is not permitted to stay. Your future cannot be built with the materials of your past. Your dream cannot rest on the foundation of a drifting identity. You must tear down the old house. And you must begin now. Burn the blueprint of hesitation. Remove the habits that speak for him. Change your tone. Stand differently. Breathe differently. Walk as though you no longer have time to entertain the former self, because you don't. You have one life, and it belongs to the man who chooses to own it. You may feel resistance as you do this. That is normal. The weak version of you will fight to survive. He will speak in your thoughts. He will whisper reasons to stay the same. But you are not listening to him. You are not consulting him. You are killing him. Repeat. I am no longer available to be him. Let this decision echo. Let it become your rhythm. Let it ring in your chest until your blood obeys it. This is not a moment. It is a departure. You are leaving behind the man who made excuses. You are cutting ties with the man who started but never finished. You are unrecognizable to him now. Say it once more. I do not serve the old self. I command the new one. Say it with certainty, for the future does not ask for credentials. It asks for conviction. And conviction is born from the man who decides to never look back. You are not weak. You are simply untrained. You are not broken. You are simply undecided. But now, in this hour, with this repetition, with this decision, you are becoming the man who cannot be stopped. Because you have removed the one thing that always did, your former self. Drift into sleep now. Not as the man you were, but as the man who has begun again. Sleep with intention. Sleep with direction. Sleep as one who has buried the old and now walks only with the new. And may every thought you think from this night forward begin with this vow: I am no longer the man who waits. I am the man who builds. The man you have been was not born in one day. He was sculpted by repetition. Your habits, your posture, your thoughts, your delays, they were all rehearsed. Weakness is not a trait. It is a pattern. And every time you chose comfort over command, hesitation over decision, you fed the pattern that shaped your former self. The weak version of you was not born. He was installed. And if he was installed, he can be removed. You are not bound by temperament, by past, or by feeling. You are bound only by what you repeat. And if you begin to repeat strength with the same loyalty you once gave to delay, then strength will become your new nature. This is the law of cosmic habit force, the invisible mechanism by which all thoughts once repeated become behavior, and all behavior once repeated becomes identity. It is not emotional. It is not personal. It is law, and law makes no exception for men who wish without work. You must now accept this truth. What you repeat, you become. There is no shortcut, no secret beyond this. If you rehearse defeat, you will act defeated. If you rehearse discipline, you will behave decisively. The repetition is the sculptor, and your identity is its clay. Most men repeat weakness. They repeat indecision and call it wisdom. They repeat complaint and call it realism. They repeat excuse and call it circumstance. They do not see that they are rehearsing the very things that prevent their rise. And then they ask why success flees from them. You must do the opposite. You must begin repeating power in your thoughts, in your words, in your decisions, in your very breathing. Say aloud now, I do not explain myself, I act. I do not wait for strength, I repeat it until it is mine. These are not sentences. These are weapons. These are chisels. These are commands. Let these phrases enter your subconscious. Speak them not as wishes, but as decrees. The subconscious obeys only the voice it hears most often. If it hears doubt more than belief, it will build weakness. If it hears courage more than fear, it will build strength. Speak now as a man who understands this law. Andrew Carnegie was such a man. He repeated inner power until it replaced every outer obstacle. He did not wait to feel confident. He rehearsed confidence until it became his state. His words were few. His thoughts were definite. His identity was not gifted. It was built. He did not rise by accident. He rose by repetition. His thoughts were trained. His speech was measured. He surrounded himself with those who reinforced belief, not confusion. And he obeyed the law of cosmic habit force, not once but daily, until it bent the world in his favor. You must do the same. Begin now to repeat only that which belongs to the man you intend to become. Refuse to speak as the old self. Refuse to rehearse his patterns. Every word, every thought, every act, let it belong to the version of you who builds, who believes, who decides. You may not feel it yet. That does not matter. Repetition builds what emotion cannot. Emotion may change with the weather, but repetition builds identity in stone. Each night you say the same words. Each morning you rise with the same commands. You are replacing the old rhythm with a new one. Let your new rhythm be this. I walk with decision. I think with strength. I act with clarity. Say it again and again and again until your bones obey it, until your tone changes, until your walk speaks for you, until the world no longer recognizes the version of you that once hesitated. You must understand, there is no neutral repetition. Every word you speak is either reinforcing power or reinforcing weakness. Every thought you allow is either building the builder or feeding the beggar. Every conversation you entertain is either aligning you with greatness or anchoring you to delay. You cannot say, I will change, and then speak as the old self. You cannot think thoughts of fear, speak words of drift, and expect to rise in purpose. That is madness. The law will not obey double minds. It will follow the rhythm you repeat, no matter what that rhythm is. So I tell you again, take control of your repetition. Speak deliberately. Think deliberately. Move as one who has no interest in his former vocabulary. Say to yourself each night, I am no longer shaped by weakness. I shape myself with strength. I will not drift. I repeat clarity. I do not explain. I do, I do, I do. These are the seeds. And what you plant tonight, you shall reap tomorrow. Not in fantasy, but in form. And the only way to change what you see is to change what you rehearse. Change the loop, change the life. Change the phrase, change the fate. say what he would say, think what he would think, repeat what he would repeat, and the man you want to be shall rise, not because you found him, but because you built him. You built him through loyalty to repetition. You built him through obedience to the law. You built him because you finally understood identity is not inherited, it is installed. And so, my friend, let this night mark the burial of the old rhythm. Let your subconscious hear a new voice. Let your thoughts become a daily workshop of belief. And when you rise, rise as a man who no longer wonders how to change. He knows. He has begun. For now you know. The man you were was nothing but a rhythm, and the man you are becoming is nothing but a new one, repeated. The greatest danger to a man is not the world outside. It is the mind within that is left untrained. The weak man does not fall because life is hard. He falls because he never learned to command his own thought. And a mind that is not governed will collapse under pressure, drift in confusion, and obey any voice louder than its own. There is no such thing as a neutral mind. Either your mind is an obedient servant to your purpose, or it is a reckless traitor, working for fear, doubt, and delay. The man who becomes great does not merely hope for clarity. He trains his mind to obey him, like a soldier, like a machine, like a tool of creation. Weakness thrives in the absence of definite command. When you do not instruct your mind, others will. The news will do it. The crowd will do it. The critics will do it. Emotion will do it. And once they take hold, your mind becomes a battlefield, and you lose before the day even begins. You must speak to your mind like a general speaks to an army, with clarity, with tone, with repetition, with certainty. You must give it orders before the world does. And if you do not, the old man will return, and he will speak with the voice of logic, and you will believe him. He will say, rest today. Try tomorrow. Be realistic. Play it safe. And if your mind is untrained, you will obey him. Not because you are weak, but because you never told your mind who it belongs to. But I say to you now, you are the commander, and you must speak accordingly. Say this aloud and say it with force. My mind is my instrument. It obeys me. I do not obey it. Let that sentence become your armor. Repeat it until your thoughts begin to fall in line, until you feel your inner posture straighten, until hesitation begins to retreat from the weight of your words. Every morning, every night, command your mind. Tell it where you're going. Tell it what to focus on. Tell it what it may speak and what it must silence. If you do not, it will wander, and the wandering mind never leads to wealth. It leads to drift, and drift is the domain of failure. Let me speak plainly. The man who does not command his mind has no future, for the world will shape him. The critics will define him. The past will enslave him. And the mind, left to roam, will always return to its most familiar thought, fear. But you are not that man anymore. You are not the man who lets thought control action. You are the man who chooses his thoughts and uses them as weapons. You are the man who rises with a mental blueprint and executes it without apology. Henry Ford is proof of this. His belief was so definite that no opposition could dislodge it. He was not swayed by mockery. He did not care for opinion. His engineers told him his vision was impossible, but his mind was already made up, and so the world bent to match it. He trained his mind to follow instruction, and instruction repeated long enough becomes nature. This is the principle of all success. Tell your mind who you are until it forgets who you were. Do not wait for proof. Do not beg for evidence. Command it, and let your results follow. Now say this with power. I am not what I think by chance. I am what I think by choice. My thoughts are ordered. My decisions are final. My future is shaped by my command. Speak these words not just tonight, but every morning, every evening, every time doubt returns. Repetition is the language the mind obeys. You must treat your mind like a field. Plant nothing, and it will grow weeds. But if you speak with purpose, if you water it with repetition, If you pull out every fear by the root, it will produce what you choose, not by accident, but by law. You do not need a new life. You need a new mental command. You do not need to wait. You need to speak, and speak again, and speak louder than every old thought that used to own you. The mind, once led, becomes your most powerful ally, but left alone, it is your worst enemy. So decide tonight, no more drifting thoughts, no more rehearsing fear, no more permission for the mind to entertain weakness. You are the master. You are the instructor, and your words shall now build your world. Say this once more as you prepare to sleep. I lead my mind, I train it, I feed it, I protect it, and it obeys. The old man allowed his thoughts to roam. You do not. The old man spoke from confusion. You speak from clarity. The old man reacted to the day. You command it in advance. That is the difference between failure and fortune. Sleep now, not as a man hoping for strength, but as a man who has declared it. And tomorrow, rise with your orders written, your words rehearsed, and your future already submitted to the mind that now obeys you. You may bury the weak man once, but unless you discipline yourself daily, he will rise again. Each morning, each hour, each choice, you either put the old self further beneath the ground, or you resurrect him with your actions. Discipline is not punishment. It is loyalty to your future self. The man who refuses discipline is the man who chooses decay. He may dress it up in clever names, freedom, balance, ease, but what he really seeks is comfort. And comfort is where weakness hides best. It whispers to you sweetly, but it steals from you silently. And without discipline, you invite it to stay. Discipline is not about suffering. It is about structure. The structure that holds the new identity in place while it forms. You cannot build a fortune with scattered thought. You cannot construct a future on shifting moods. You need a rigid foundation, and discipline is the brick. You must see discipline for what it is, a daily funeral. Every repetition of control is another shovelful of earth over the former man. Each early rise, each refusal to quit, each moment you push past feeling, you are burying the one who hesitated, the one who drifted, the one who hoped but never acted. Do not pity that former self. He had his time. But he does not belong in the future you are building. He feared discomfort, so he avoided action. But discomfort is the furnace of the new identity. What you once avoided must now become your ritual. What once repelled you must now refine you. Discipline without direction is chaos. That is why you must always attach your daily actions to your definite chief aim. Every act of will, every choice to delay gratification must serve the purpose you have declared. Otherwise, you are merely suffering for no reward. When I studied Thomas Edison, I saw no miracle, only daily death. He did not invent through sudden brilliance. He invented through brutal repetition, through 10,000 refusals to quit, through strict command of habit. He disciplined himself into genius. Edison did not test blindly. He tested as a man who had burned the bridge behind him. His old identity, the one who would have given up, was gone. He had been buried in the lab. Each failed experiment was another act of discipline, and discipline was his shovel. You must now do the same. You must tie each act of effort to the man you are becoming. When you rise early, remind yourself, this act is the burial of the former self. When you speak with clarity, when you move with structure, say, this is who I am now. Do not delay this shift. Do not soften your command. The weak man seeks ease. The strong man repeats structure. And over time, the structure becomes soul. It becomes posture. It becomes voice. You become what you discipline yourself into being. Affirm this tonight as you prepare for rest. Every act of discipline is a declaration of who I am. I am no longer a man who needs to feel ready. I am a man who acts because he has decided. Say this not to feel better, but to build better. Words are not comfort. They are construction. Discipline is the steel of success. No matter how beautiful your vision, how grand your purpose, how noble your desire, Without discipline, you are a liar to yourself. But with discipline, you are a builder, a commander, a master of time, thought, and destiny. Now listen, discipline is not intensity, it is consistency. Any man can act with fire once, but only the man who decides daily is transformed. He does not wait for motivation. He does not consult feeling. He obeys the law. He serves the future self. He walks through routine with honor. Begin your morning with command. End your night with review. Do not let a day pass without reminding yourself, I am sculpting the man who cannot be moved. Each act, each breath, each controlled choice, let it serve this image, and soon the world will meet him. There will be days when the voice of the former man returns. He will tempt you. He will offer ease, but you are no longer available. Say this when he speaks, I know who I am now, and you are no longer welcome here. Then return to work. Let discipline speak where doubt once ruled. As you fall asleep tonight, review your disciplines. Did you act as the new self? Did you structure your time, your tone, your thought? If not, do not explain, correct. Begin again. The weak man justifies, the strong man adjusts. Let your sleep be earned. Let your rest be a reward for structure, not an escape from guilt. And as you close your eyes, speak these words again. The old man dies with every act of will. The new man rises with every repetition of strength. The weak man believes his emotions are truth. The strong man knows they are a test. One lives by passing feeling, the other lives by unchanging law. Emotion shifts with the wind, but law stands like stone. And only the man who chooses law over feeling shall ever command himself, his mind, and his destiny. Emotion is not the enemy, but to serve it is slavery. The man who waits until he feels like acting shall spend his life waiting. He will only speak when praised. He will only work when inspired. He will only persist when encouraged. And because of this, he will remain weak and call it fate. But the man of law speaks not from mood. He speaks from structure. He acts not from comfort. He acts from command. He does not ask, do I feel like it? He declares, this is what must be done. And that voice becomes his identity, not because it is easy, but because it is trained. You must now train your identity the same way. Begin with this truth. Feelings are guests. Law is the landlord. You do not owe your feelings obedience. You owe your vision obedience. And feelings must either serve your goal or be dismissed like disloyal servants. The weak man is ruled by how he feels. He speaks from impulse. He quits in storms. He criticizes when afraid. He delays when uncertain. And because his behavior is built on emotion, his life becomes a house without foundation, collapsing at every tremor. But you are building a fortress, a house of law, a mind governed by principle, not pressure. And you must now install this law as your inner compass. This law says, what I have decided, I obey. Whether I feel it or not, whether others approve or not, whether it is easy or not. Say now these affirmations aloud. I obey law. I do not bow to passing moods. I speak only what aligns with my purpose. I act from principle, not from pain or pleasure. Let these words become your shield against emotional drift. John D. Rockefeller mastered this principle. His calm, his poise, his control, these were not gifts, they were installed. He trained his mind to think in results, not reactions. His tone did not rise with praise nor fall with panic. He lived by structure, by order, by law. He did not waste time explaining himself. He did not tremble before temporary loss. His habits were not governed by what the world thought, but by what his inner order demanded. This is the path of power, not emotion, not flair, structure, consistency, discipline. You must become this man. Begin today, record your laws, speak them morning and night. They are not rules, they are identity. When you rise, say, I do not speak weakness. I do not think complaint. I do not delay discipline. These are not preferences. These are your standards, and your standards must not fluctuate with feeling. Understand this. Your emotions are not qualified to lead you. They are not built to guide decisions. They were made to be felt but not followed. And the man who follows them becomes unstable, reactive, unfocused. The man who observes them and still obeys principle becomes unshakable. This is not suppression, this is mastery. To feel fear, yet act in courage. To feel doubt, yet speak belief. To feel tired, yet move forward. That is the mark of the new man. And every time you act from law and not from mood, you weaken the grip of the old identity. So tonight, reflect on this question. Did I act from emotion or from structure? And if the answer shames you, do not run. Rebuild. Begin again. The strong man does not explain failure. He replaces it with discipline. And discipline must obey law. Let the new law be this. I think with clarity. I act with discipline. I do not obey emotion. I command it. Repeat it, speak it, build your mind upon it. Let it become the voice that overrides all others. You are not what you feel. You are what you decide. And that decision must become your law. That law must be repeated. That repetition must become belief. And that belief will build your new identity, unmoved, unbothered, and undefeatable. Say one final time before you sleep, I do not need to feel ready. I am built on law. And tomorrow, rise not in reaction, but in command. There comes a time in every man's transformation where he must turn from the crowd, not to retreat, but to reconstruct. The weak man is addicted to noise. He needs approval. He is afraid to be alone with his thoughts, for he knows they will expose him. But the strong man seeks silence, for he knows that is where power is born. You must not fear solitude. You must require it, not as an escape, but as a workshop. For no man can become something new while standing in the same environment that shaped the former version of himself. You cannot stay in the room of weakness and expect strength to be installed. You must leave. Isolation is not loneliness. It is the furnace of self-invention. In isolation, you no longer play roles. You no longer act for others. You confront yourself in truth. You observe your thoughts not with judgment, but with clarity. And only through that observation can you begin to command them. The world will not understand your silence. That is fine. They are not meant to. For the masses speak often and loudly because they fear what will happen if they stop. They fear who they are without distraction. They fear hearing their inner cowards speak again, so they stay loud and they stay weak. But you are not like them. You are a builder of mind. And builders require concentration. Concentration requires silence. And silence requires solitude. Do not apologize for it. Do not explain it. Use it. Let isolation become your chamber of transformation, not a cage, but a crucible. Each night, withdraw, even if only for 1 hour. Remove yourself from the opinions of others, from the noise of the world, from the temptation of drift. Enter a room and bring only your purpose, your affirmations, and your new voice, and repeat it until it becomes your atmosphere. Speak aloud in that room. I no longer borrow identity, I construct my own. I am the architect of my mind. I am the gatekeeper of my thoughts. Let no voice enter that chamber except the voice of your future self. That voice must become the loudest, and repetition is how it takes command. Think of Charles M. Schwab, a man whose inner calm and presence of mind earned him not millions, but the power to command men who earned millions. His power did not come from his volume. It came from internal stillness, from self-respect, from time spent mastering his own posture of thought. Schwab did not drift with culture. He did not reflect the noise of others. He lived from inner certainty, and that certainty was forged in solitude, not in conversation, not in applause, but in quiet reflection, where he rehearsed who he was and refused to carry forward what he was not. You must now take this model. Each evening, enter your own workshop. This is where you review your day, not emotionally, but surgically. Where did you speak as the old man? Where did you hesitate? Where did you delay when you should have declared? And once you see it, you do not complain, you correct. Then rehearse the new image, rehearse his words, rehearse his tone, rehearse his gait. Close your eyes and see yourself as the man who no longer flinches, the man who no longer explains, the man who does not drift because he is guided from within. Speak to your mind in these hours. Say, this is what I believe now. This is how I speak now. This is the only version of me that will remain. And let your subconscious hear nothing else, not from the world and not from the past. This solitude is not an act of avoidance. It is an act of war. You are cutting off the world not to escape it, but to stop it from infecting the new self you are building. You are not withdrawing from responsibility. You are stepping into ownership, full and unapologetic ownership of your mind. Do not return from isolation the same. Return forged. Return defined. Return with orders for your day. Most men wander into the morning with borrowed intentions. You shall not. You will enter the day already declared, already decided, already built in the image of your definite purpose. You must no longer fear being misunderstood. The old self needed permission. He needed approval. But the man of purpose walks alone, and the world adjusts. If they call your silence arrogance, let them. If they call your solitude coldness, let them. If they ask what happened to the old you, you simply say, he has been replaced. Let your new environment serve this transformation. Make your room a chamber of faith, not fear. Read only what reinforces your decision. Speak only what reflects your new command. Write your vision and place it before your eyes. This is not ceremony. This is construction. Let me remind you, all great men retreated before they advanced. Carnegie had rooms where only vision was spoken. Edison worked for hours in silence, entertaining no voice but that of definite aim. Lincoln wrote his thoughts in solitude, refining his beliefs before ever sharing them aloud. You must now do the same. If you are to rise, you must withdraw from every influence that shaped your lesser self. Remove yourself from the familiar, from those who remember the old you, from those who flinch at your growth, not with hate, with honor. You are not cutting them off. You are cutting yourself free. Say it aloud. I no longer fear silence. I require it. I no longer crave the world's approval. I approve my own mind. I am replacing what the world made with what I have now decided to become. Let this be your truth. Let this be your environment. Let this be your isolation, not absence, but elevation. And when you emerge, you will no longer be known as the man who wanted change. You will be known as the man who built himself in silence and returned unrecognizable. Make no mistake, the moment you change, the world will test your resolve. The old version of you had companions, habits, voices, environments, expectations that will not surrender quietly. They will rise, they will knock, they will whisper, they will tempt you to return, but you must persist anyway. Transformation is not a private act. It affects the world around you, and the world resists what it cannot control. The moment you begin to speak differently, walk with certainty, and remove the mask of mediocrity, others will feel the shift, and they will challenge it. They will say, "You've changed." And you must reply, "Yes, by design." They will ask, "Who do you think you are?" And you will say, "I am who I decided to be." They will remind you of your past, and you will answer, "That man has been dismissed." You owe them no apology for your rise. Old friends will try to resurrect the old habits. Environments will try to reawaken old beliefs. Doubts will dress themselves in familiar voices and demand your attention. But you are not available. Your allegiance has been transferred. Your loyalty is no longer to comfort, but to construction. Persistence is not movement. It is resistance. It is the act of remaining while everything pushes against you. It is standing firm when the old world tries to drag you back. And it is built not in feeling, but in decision. You must choose again and again and again, not once, but constantly. When I studied the lives of the great, I saw this moment in every one of them. A moment when the tide turned against their new self, when the world tried to make them small again, when circumstances tested their commitment, and it was not their talent that saved them, it was their persistence. Think of Edwin C. Barnes, who refused to be rejected by Edison. He had nothing. No money, no credentials. Only a burning inner picture of himself working alongside the greatest inventor of the age. He did not knock once. He did not apply politely. He persisted until the world adjusted. Barnes was not accepted at first. He was sent to the periphery, but he did not flinch. He worked with purpose. He remained in belief. He persisted until his inner identity became visible to Edison. And when the opportunity came, it found him ready, not lucky, prepared. This is your task now. The world will not accept the new you immediately, but you must not shrink to fit its memory. You must remain in your new image, even if no one claps, even if no one believes, even if no one understands. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to be transformed. Affirm now, I walk in certainty. I will not answer when weakness calls. I remain unmoved. I persist through resistance. I obey only the vision I have declared. Say these not softly, but with fire. Say them until your own subconscious begins to fear disobedience. You must understand persistence is not stubbornness. It is spiritual loyalty to your definite chief aim. It is the refusal to betray your future for the sake of present comfort. It is staying in motion when the crowd stops. And it is continuing to rise when you are not yet being praised. Let me give you this truth. The world will only believe in you after you believe in yourself. And that belief must be backed by action, and that action must be made permanent through persistence. If you break your rhythm, the old self returns. But if you hold it, the old self dissolves. You may feel isolated, that is natural. The new path is not crowded, but isolation is not emptiness, it is elevation. The higher you go, the fewer who will walk with you. But you will be joined by something greater, your future self, your unseen reward, your new identity. Persistence does not look like victory. It looks like showing up when there's no applause. It looks like speaking belief when no one agrees. It looks like repetition in silence. And only later, when the results arrive, does the world call you a success. But by then you were already convinced. You must also be wary of your own thoughts. When doubt arises, speak louder. When the old voice whispers, speak your new declaration. When fatigue creeps in, say, I do not stop. I do not flinch. I do not return. I am past the point of retreat. Persistence is not merely action. It is identity defense. The weak self wants resurrection. But you must guard the gates of your mind like a soldier. You must post guards at every habit, every environment, every word that tries to sneak the old version of you back into power. Understand this. You are now responsible for protecting your progress. The world will not do it for you. The past will not retire on its own. The former friends will not erase themselves. You must say no. You must say never again. You must say, I do not negotiate with the man I buried. Each day you must decide again. You must rehearse again. You must persist again. And when the results seem slow, you remind yourself, the seed is working, even when the field looks barren. Persistence is the price. But the harvest is sure, if you remain in belief. Before you sleep, speak this vow. Though the world resists me, I remain. Though my former self calls, I do not answer. Though the path is narrow, I do not deviate. I persist, I persist, I persist. These are not just words, these are weapons. Arm yourself with them, use them when no one sees. Use them when everyone doubts. And soon the world will bow, not to the man who tried once, but to the man who persisted without pause. There is one final act that separates those who change from those who drift, the burning of the bridge. The bridge is your exit plan. It is your secret doorway back to the old life. It is the thought that says, if this gets hard, I can always go back to how things were. And until that bridge is burned, you are not free. You have done well. You have spoken new thoughts. You have silenced the old voice. You have acted, repeated, commanded, and persisted. But now comes the final test, to cut off return, to make the transformation irreversible, to speak one final word to the former self, goodbye. For a man cannot build a new self while still honoring the old one. You cannot walk forward with your eyes on the rear. You cannot hold your purpose in one hand and your past in the other. The weak man lives divided. The strong man chooses completely. You must understand, this is not symbolic. This is spiritual. Burning the bridge means removing all paths, all habits, all alliances, all environments, all beliefs that connect you to the man you used to be, and doing it not with sorrow, but with joy. For that man was not your future, he was your prison, and if you do not burn the bridge, he will return. All it takes is one moment of permission, one conversation with an old voice, one compromise. And before you know it, the old identity will slip back in, smiling, saying, it's just for a moment. But that moment can cost you everything. When I first received instruction from Andrew Carnegie, he gave me the principle in 6 words. Put all your eggs in one basket. Then he said something even more powerful, and watch that basket. He did not believe in divided loyalty. He believed in complete decision with no retreat. Carnegie became a master of wealth not because he was the smartest, but because he removed every route of escape. He told the world, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I will not return to weakness, poverty, or mediocrity, not for comfort, not for company, not for anything. This must now be your stance. You must not just rise, you must remove. Remove the language of the old self. Remove the environments that shaped him. Remove the excuses he used. Remove the patterns he obeyed. And say with finality, the man I used to be is no longer invited into my life. You must now delete his voice from your thinking. When the old self whispers, don't push too hard, take a day off, you've done enough. You do not respond. You do not argue. You do not explain. You say nothing. Because that man no longer exists. His voice is not welcome. His counsel is not valid. This is the moment where most men fail. They rise for a while, but they keep the bridge. They keep the identity card of their old self just in case. They want the rewards of transformation without the death of the past. But that death is the price, and the bridge must be burned completely. Let me speak to you now as if this were the last thing you ever heard. If you return to him, he will ruin you. If you allow him back, he will cost you the future. If you entertain his excuses, his tone, his comfort, then all your work will be undone. So say this with your full chest. The weak man is dead. I will not speak his words again. My path is chosen. My bridge is burned. My old self is forgotten. This is not poetry. This is self-legislation. These are your new commandments. Speak them, obey them, live by them. You must now go through your life and find every rope that connects you to him, every association, every trigger, every morning habit, every word that slips out in stress. And you must cut it, burn it, remove it, replace it. Do not hesitate. Do not second guess. Do not explain. Remove the way you used to walk, the way you used to slump your shoulders, the way you used to explain yourself, the way you used to wait for permission. Remove it. And install the posture of the new man, the tone of the new man, the tempo of the new man. Do not let the world convince you that this is too much, that it is unnatural. It is not. This is how all transformation occurs. You do not drift into greatness. You decide it. And the final proof of your decision is this. You destroy the exit. You remove the escape. You close the door. Let me give you an image. There is a small flame in your chest. That flame is your future self. It is not yet a fire. It is a spark. And every time you say, I will never return, the flame grows. Every time you say, I do not explain myself anymore, it grows. Every time you reject the weak voice, it grows. But if you allow doubt, apology, or hesitation to return, it will suffocate the flame. You do not need to wait for others to believe in your new self. The flame only needs one belief, yours. And if you feed it with repetition, with faith, with refusal to turn back, it will become an unstoppable blaze. So now I ask you, will you keep the bridge? Will you leave the door open? Will you allow the old self to visit you in moments of weakness? Or will you take this moment and end it permanently? Say now with intensity, I am not that man anymore. I will not return to him again. He served a purpose, but his time is finished. I now serve purpose itself. This is your new code. This is your new rhythm. This is your new loyalty. Every step forward from this moment on shall be in the direction of what you have declared. And if doubt arises, you say, there is no return. I have burned the bridge. And now, one final vow before you sleep. This is the last night I will ever drift. From this night forward, I build, I speak, I act, I persist. There is no backup plan. There is no second identity. There is no other version of me left. There is only the builder. There is only the commander. There is only the man who has decided. Sleep now, not with uncertainty, but with steel in your breath. And when you rise, rise as the man who has no way back, only forward, for he has burned the bridge. And because of that, he cannot be stopped.